Chapter 1. Cast Out Again. 14 days after the spring equinox, 819. Master Arthoyan, the preeminent animorph among the Brittany Druids and all-around blowhard, is angry at me again. Why else would he command me to turn into a woodpecker and capture a grub from the largest ash tree in this glade? I choose the great spotted woodpecker and lazily bounce into the air to a dying branch. I spot the telltale holes and start drumming into the wood with enthusiasm. In no time, I'm holding a larva as my prize. Adequate. He walks away from me as if the instruction bores him. It should. I've completed every challenge he's thrown at me for the last 3 months. The old codger has nothing left to teach me. Any reasonable mentor would have assigned me a quest by now. I toss the remains in his general direction and transform into a screech owl, gliding to the woodland floor behind him. Since he's not paying attention, I let out the screech for which the birds are known. Arthoyan jumps in fright. No, Grami. He's always mispronouncing my name, putting emphasis on the end. Not another owl. You will never understand the intricacies of the forest animals at this rate. Satisfied that I did more than was asked, I resume my human form. It's a warm spring day with a clear blue sky, the kind that is rarely repeated in this backwater place, accurately called Land's End. Will he waste the whole day with his useless prattle? He's managed to distance himself from me. From experience, I know he wants me to run and catch up with him so he can feel important. I have a better idea. I transform into an eagle owl and silently glide along just above him. When he doesn't hear me come running like some child, he thrusts his head around to see where I've gone. I continue to circle him. It's only after he spots my shadow that the old fool pieces it together and scowls. You will never appreciate the other animal forms if you continue to fixate on owls. I land next to him and stare. Owls are so stoic by nature. There's no chance of him reading my disdain while I'm in this form. He turns his back to me and continues his meandering instruction. You will miss the beauty of other animal forms, like the lynx, the squirrel, and the boar. I leap into the air and change into a lynx before I touch the ground. He doesn't notice, of course. I run soundlessly toward 100-year-old elm. I spring to the base of the tree, and I'm a squirrel by the time I reach it. My fluffy tail extends outward to keep my balance. I chitter as I run 2 rings upward around the trunk. I scurry out along the branch above Master Arthoyan's head. I change into a boar. In retrospect, this is probably a mistake. Each transformation must involve changing back to my human form before becoming another animal. But I can switch fast enough that I don't even notice it. My hooves slide sideways with every step. I lose my footing and my stomach smashes into the branch. I let out a surprised squeal. Falling onto his head would be too much, even for me, so I convert into a tawny owl and spiral down in front of my mentor. All this morphing has sapped my energy. I'm in need of a nice long nap, perhaps in a sunny pasture. Hopefully, my changing into another owl will send him storming off in a huff. Arthoyan snarls his disapproval upon seeing me. He transforms into a massive brown bear and emits a guttural roar. I anamorph back into a human and avoid eye contact. I prefer this type of scolding. Later, he won't be able to obsess over whether I remembered his every word. He rears up onto his hind legs, towering over me. Lowering his head, he hits me with a blast of fetid breath. It's unpleasant, but I stand my ground and wait for him to recover his wits. His forelegs crash back to the ground, and his head crashes into my chest, with enough force to send me somersaulting backward. I stop at the base of the elm. I could have been knocked senseless. I stand up and glare at the clumsy oaf. Instruction is not supposed to include attacking while in animal form. He approaches me, still grunting his displeasure. I advance toward him and swipe with my massive left paw. I don't recall changing into a bear, but this will make for a fair fight. He growls and bites down on my neck. I twist violently and break free. I clamp down on his shoulder and gain leverage, along with a mouthful of fur. I force him down on his back and stand over him, refusing to release my hold. All 4 of his legs push upward against me until he manages to break free. He rolls over and runs to a rocky outcrop. I wait. He must transform back first, since he was beaten. It is the accepted practice of the animal duel. He vocalizes his anger from above and refuses to yield. I roar in response and start toward him. I will make his defeat clearer. From the canopy above, a raven touches down between us and fixes me with an impassive gaze. Never have I seen such temerity from a creature so small. I stop and sniff at the odd bird. It transforms into Boswin, the Lord Protector of our holy site, Menatol, and the undisputed Druidic leader of the Land's End Peninsula. His tattered robe gives barely a hint of the white colour worn by all Druids. "That's enough," he orders. "As you command," I say, when I regain human form. In my haste, I change back while on all 4s. It looks as if I'm trying to kiss his feet. Arthoyan roars in defiance before changing back. "Boswin, it is good that you are here. Don't let his fake deference fool you. I renounce this novice." With every word, his finger jerks toward me. He will get no further instruction from me. "What do you have left to teach, you old fool?" I retort. Boswin silences me with a single upraised eyebrow. I've overstepped again. He turns to Arthoyan with great solemnity. "Your words have been heard, and the covenant between you and young Grami is no more. I will personally see to it that everyone in Land's End is made aware of this," Arthoyan says with glee. "Your failure will be known far and wide, I promise you." "Is that how you teach your students to act, Arthoyan?" Boswin asks. "Say the words, Boswin. I want to see the final blow to this young fool's ego. Tell him that he's forever banned from becoming one of us." "Arthoyan, you are free to take your leave," Boswin says with finality. "Now." Undaunted, Arthoyan basks in his victory before turning into a screech owl and flying away. His victory cries injure me more than any bear attack could. Am I to go also, Lord Boswin? My shame pulls me inward so tightly that I'm convinced I will dissipate from this existence at any moment. "Yes, you are to go north and east with me to my camp in the woods of Dartmoor. I will finish what Masters Arthoyan and Gwalther have started." "You know of my time with Master Gwalther?" "I do. And I name you Grami of the 3 chances, for your fortune is greater than one so prideful has any right to expect." "Thank you, Lord Protector. I promise to make the most of this chance." I keep my gaze on the ground, afraid to meet his eyes. "Then stop staring at the ground and keep up, or you shall miss out on your 3rd and final chance." He changes into a grey-faced rook in mid-stride and takes off for the northeast. Smiling, I follow as a tawny owl. The freedom to soar in the air on a sunny day fills me with unbounded joy. I catch a bit of a thermal and rise even higher in the sky. There will be no more petulance from Arthoyan, and I get to learn from the greatest among us. This is a perfect day. The old man banks hard to the left and drops in altitude, but I follow him easily. He flies over the River Tamar and trumpets out an alarm call. Below are rooks and jackdaws, busy foraging for their next meal. The air beneath me transforms into a blanket of black wings and murderous intent as the birds rise to attack me, their natural enemy. I can't hope to outfly them all. I need more speed and more maneuverability. My mind feels fuzzy, no doubt from too many transformations today. But with the encouragement of certain death approaching from below, I'm able to focus and transform once more. I change back to human and drop halfway to the ground before I can assume the shape of a swift. This is exactly why we are taught not to change in mid-air. I turn right, drop until I'm skimming the ground, and bank back to the left. I've managed to confuse my pursuers as I open up a gap from them. Having lost sight of the owl, they are more than willing to give up the chase. A lassitude falls over me, but I can't rest yet. A swift is not my preferred choice for this journey through shifting winds, so I follow Lord Boswin's lead and become a rook. Feeling equal parts exhaustion and exhilaration, I give mute praise to the crafty old Druid. Already he is more clever than either of my previous instructors. I accept the challenge, old man. We sail over the gorse and heather-covered expanse of the upper moor, until we finally reach a narrow ravine. It's filled with moss-covered rocks and old, tortured trees, sprouting from wherever soil manages to collect. The gusting wind buffets me hither and yon. Is it always so bad? Boswin flares his wings, changes back into human form, and drops the last few inches onto his feet. He turns and awaits my landing. I had expected him to keep moving, so I have to yank back abruptly on my landing. Changing back to human, I'm unable to keep my balance, and I stumble to the unforgiving ground. Again, I'm staring at his feet, wrapped in well-worn leather shoes. Did you know the significance of my grey beak when I changed into the bird? You chose a rook instead of the raven, which you chose when you entered the glen, I say before I rise. I can't help but let out a huge yawn. Getting to my feet takes most of my remaining energy. And after my choice of a bird, you chose the form of its mortal enemy. I did not think of you as my enemy. Then you must practice your thinking. Perhaps if you would listen to your old master, you would know not to upset the natural world without cause. That one mistake could have proven deadly. As you say. I grin despite the tongue lashing. Never again will you catch me unaware. And what is the effect of too many transformations in one day? I yawn again. Each transition saps your energy, both mentally and physically. After too many transitions, the mind fails to remain sharp, and the transformation can go badly, resulting in a permanent change, injury, or even death. Any other side effects, assuming you avoid those three? It makes you sleepy. My heavy eyelids are evidence of this. It does. And it also deadens your appetite. What other signs are there that you have overextended yourself? You fall over in exhaustion? I'm not sure what the old man wants me to say. Beyond being tired and exhausted, one would exhibit tremors in the limbs. Raise your arms out in front of you. I force my hands to stay still, but we both watch as my arms betray me. How do your legs feel? Very heavy. He purses his lips. You are accomplished as an animorph. What of the other skills of the druids? I am also accomplished at potions and salves. So Master Gwalther was also unjustified in releasing you. I should not have struck him, despite his provocation, I admit. But my skill is undeniable. I dare not say more. Boswin walks to the fire pit outside his hut. He inspects it before turning back to me. A second hut is filled with firewood and other basic supplies. I have, or at least I used to have, frequent visitors, so I had need for a good store of dry tinder. There is obvious sadness in his voice. Not knowing a proper response, I nod my understanding. What of the other druid skills? He asks, in a clipped manner. Runes? I do not see the need to carve ancient elvish letters into tree bark. He raises an eyebrow at my answer. This is my last chance. I choose to be honest. Animal lore? It is the most basic of skills. I can communicate with animals. I have seen your animorphing skills, and they speak for themselves. What of elemental summoning? I believe druids should commune with the living, not the lifeless substances around us. Can you summon an elemental or not? He asks, aggravated. I cannot. What of barding? I do not seek out nor particularly enjoy drunken fools, so my skill is minimal. And have you any ability in weather magic? I thought that skill had been lost. Neither Gwalathor nor Arthian would address the subject with me. You're lucky neither of them did. They are both beyond useless in the art. You know weather magic? My ears perk up to hear his answer, despite my sluggishness. I will teach you weather magic. I can't hide my smile. The chilly, damp wind from the west picks up, reminding me that the moorland is much colder than the land below. I had no chance to retrieve my wool mantle this morning, and now the wind is numbing me to the bone. I rub my arms to ward off goosebumps. Thick clouds are rolling in from the coast, threatening heavy rain. If I could control the weather, would I live in such a miserable place? Boswin sees me glancing at the clouds. As in most forms of magic, restraint is usually the proper answer. He must have read my mind. I yawn again. I have overtaxed myself today. Seeing my waning energy, Boswin extends his hand and pats my shoulder. You are overly tired from your exertions today. I nod, torn between the warm fire and the empty hut. A nap would do wonders for me. If you were to sleep now, you would wake up half-starved and unable to learn tomorrow. I continue my mindless nodding. Whatever you say, old man. Time is precious. So, once more, show me that swift of yours, and don't come back until you have eaten your body weight in insects. But that could take until dinner. The folly of your display today will be hammered home quite well, I expect. The audience over, he turns his back to me and tends to the fire.